Hi you guys, I am back to show you how to make this Improv pieced zipper pillow cover. So super fun, you cannot mess it up. Grab your scrap bin and your sewing machine. I'll be using the Janome Skyline S7 and let's get to it. I've got some of the back pieced, but we need to rewind and I need to show you how we piece the tiny pieces of fabric together, because when I was recording yesterday, I didn't have the audio hooked up. Yay me! So let's go to the bird's eye view and start from the beginning. The first step is to press your scrap pieces and get them nice and flat. Then cut them into sizes that are easy for you to handle. So for the shapes, I generally cut smallish, rectangle-ish pieces. I try to have straight sides so that piecing them together is a cinch. Make it easy on yourself as best you can. I am just randomly grabbing different colors and sewing them together, and as you can see, I sew one right after the next and I just string piece them like this, and then I'll cut them apart with my rotary cutter after I've pieced a bunch of them, and then we repeat this process over and over again. It is literally so simple. Can vary your seam allowance and trim it off later. No biggie. You can see this seam allowance is very large. So I'm just going to trim that down right now so it doesn't bother me. There you go. Do I have any more? No. So this one right away, I'm just going to build it. That looks too Christmassy. Now you can flip it over and give it a press also. If you want to use starch, use starch. Sometimes I will take a really long strip like this one. This is super, super long. And I will fold it in half, making sure that the thinner side or less wide side is on the top, and then trim it all at once, using the narrowest section of fabric as my guideline to cut the rest of it. So really quickly, I've got a big old strip perfectly cut. Beautissimus, beautissimus. Now I can put these together. And a lot of times I'm piecing these little tiny pieces while I'm watching Netflix. So don't feel like this has to be a chore, it doesn't. This one I pieced late at night, and you can kind of see how this edge is starting to flare out a bit. And that's probably unintentional slight pulling because I was sewing past midnight. And that's okay. I'll just trim it square and hopefully it'll sit. If it still has a ripple, then I'm going to have to cut it somewhere more in the center and reattach. But still, it's no problem. It's not hard to fix at all. Okay, so I've got this strip and I've got this strip. Oh, I kind of like that. I just sort of audition and see, oh, maybe I like that. I'm going to sew these two together like this. And I'm centering it so that when I go to trim my strip, I get maximum area coverage, if that makes sense. And then here's one that's kind of odd shaped, if you can see that. No problem at all. I'm going to go from my innermost edge, cut. Here's my innermost corner, so I have to make sure that I cut inside of that. Cool. As you're building these strips, start to lay them out and set them side by side and make sure that your color combinations have high contrast and are pleasing to your eye. Sometimes it can be easy to make rows that are very similar to one another. So just be sure that you're not doing that unless that's your intention. And remember, have fun. I love this kind of sewing because you literally can't mess it up. You're just sewing random strips together. And this has been done for a long time. Improv is nothing new. So just keep going. Now if you have seams that are kind of twisting on you like I do here, because when I sew, oftentimes I'm just mowing over the seams without using a stiletto like I should. That's okay though, just come in with your little snips and release the seam. Just snip right up to the stitch line, not over it, and release those, and then we can press them properly. Now we're going to quilt. I'm just using warm and natural batting. It's cotton, it's easy to sew, easy to quilt. If you're making a bag, you can definitely use foam interfacing and do the same process. I've done that as well. It works great. So I'm going to lay it like this. This is a smaller section than what I'm using for my pillowcase, but I wanted to show the process clearly within the screen. Cut around it like that. Now, if you're really nervous, you can definitely use the spray adhesive. So you would just use your 505 and spray and then press it down or iron it down and it'll hold. When pieces are this small, I don't find that I need to do that. So I'm just going to put it under the machine and away we go.
things are turning real, so unreal. Do you like it better when the ocean's warm? Do you like it better when you see the sun? Do you like it better when the sky is blue? I know I do. In a summer state of mind, we'd be wasted all the time. In a summer state of mind, in a summer state of mind. Hands, put 'em in the sky, raise your hands. We ain't got no worries, only plans to make everybody dance, 'cause we can. Do you like it better when the ocean's warm? Do you like it better when you see the sun? Do you like it better when the sky is blue? I know I do. In a summer state of mind, we'd be wasted all the time. In a summer state of mind, in a summer state of mind. Oh, 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 do you like it better when the ocean's warm? Do you like it better when you see the sun? Do you like it better when the sky is blue? I know I do. In a summer state of mind.
Okay, so I've got the front of the pillow done. I think it's looking really good. And there are two ways you can do the back of the pillow. The easiest being like an envelope, which I have a tutorial for, super easy, just two pieces of fabric that overlap each other, and then that's how you take out your pillow insert. Or you can do a zipper, which I do it the easy way. We're gonna install the zipper as if we're making a zipper pouch. It's not hard, really, just watch the video. You can do this. Okay, so I have got the front and the back finished, cut to size, and I've got my zipper ready to go. Another thing I did last night is made a hot pad in exactly the same way. So I will write this up and hopefully video this really soon so that you can make your own. I like the slip-in kind best because I find that they're just more useful than trying to grasp just a flat hot pad. So yeah, I'll show you that really soon. So let's switch the view and get going on this. Trim it up to a 16-inch square if you haven't already, or to the size of your pillow form. That's what I'm doing here. All my cutting tools as far as cutting mat and rotary blade are from Havel's Sewing. You can find those tools linked in the description box. When I sew my tag on, I'm just going to pin it over here and baste that on really quick. My zipper will be somewhere down here. All right, so you can measure your lining pieces. This is on the fold, so I'm cutting two at once. Or you can kind of do the cheater method like I do and just lay your exterior on the top and then cut out so that they're a perfect match. Scrap fabric to make your zipper ends. You fold into the center and then fold again. Take your zipper, which is 1 inch less wide than your pillow piece. Make sure to do that. Otherwise, you're going to have bunched up, yucky looking corners, so we don't want that. So I'm going to put that in there all the way to touch the fold and then sew this down. There's one, and then we'll do the other side exactly the same. Okay, so that's sewn on, and then just trim off the excess so you're making it as wide as the zipper tape. There you go. All right. Okay, right side up for the front. Zipper is facing down. One lining piece is going to lay right on top. And I want the stripes to go that way. And you're going to line everything up flush on this end. If you feel unsure that this is going to stay in place, baste this edge first. I've made so many pillows that I'm just going to do it this way because, I don't know, I've been sewing what feels like forever, so I know I'll hit it. If I don't, it's my own fault, right? Okay, let's sew all the way down. Hopefully I've caught everything. Yep. Give that a nice smooth press. And then a press back this way. You know, we could have used an invisible zipper too. I just really love these stripy zippers from So Quirky. And I didn't mind that some of the zipper tape was going to show. It's actually a handbag zipper that I'm using. And because of the stripes, I just love it. So, whew, that's hard on the eyes, isn't it? Mercy. Okay, so everything is folded back and away. And looking good. Now we come in for the other side. Right sides together with the exteriors. It's going to look like it's short, but that's because you've got the zipper tape, so don't worry too much. Line up that edge. You can base that down if you want. And then we place the other lining piece right sides together with the lining. So everything has to be lined up at this top edge. If you've made any of my patterns, this is how I do like a zipper pouch or whatever. I just carry over this technique in so many different ways because it works every time. I'm going to sew it looking at this way. So now we finger press that away. You see where we're going with this? Looking so good. Okay, this is the home stretch. You're going to open the zipper. All right. Bring just the exteriors together and then just the linings together. Let me back this up a bit. Now I'm making sure all my edges are matched and flush with each other. I'm going to use clips to secure everything. This side I see I cut a little wide. I must not have been paying attention. That's all right. Oftentimes with the lining I'll use pins because it's a little flimsier. Okay, starting at the bottom of the lining, so if I orientate it like this, maybe this is easier. We leave an opening in the bottom, And we're going to start here and sew all the way around and stop here. Okay? Go around your zipper tab area. There should be just a tiny little space there. All right. I'm going to trim the corners. Now we're going to turn it right side out. You'd open that zipper so you just berth it just like a bag. Now I'm going to come into the corners and pop those out with my thumb. Make sure you got that. See how that's going to sit really nicely? So happy with that. I always check all my seams. It looks like this corner I kind of doohickied a little bit, so let me sew that corner again. And there we are, beautissimus. Okay, this is the lining. Push out all your corners. Now you can press this open edge under. I think I will because I didn't press this fabric well. All right, so the open edge is pressed under and I'm just going to sew it closed. And voila! The lining is ready for the pillow insert. Let me get it. I like to really push it into those corners and really make sure the pillow is stuffed tightly. Come on. You might need another person to help you with this part. Whew. And there is your zippered pillow. I love it when a project turns out. I mean, if somebody gave me that, there's my zipper, and it shows more than an invisible zipper, but I like it because it gives a little pop. I like that stripe effect. There's my tag. I love it. I hope you had fun, and I hope you realize you can just throw some scraps together from your scrap bin and make something really beautiful if you give it a little bit of patience. Think outside the box, and these make great gifts. You can do little hot pads like I was mentioning. I've done this for little purses, little clasp purses, and my favorite Santorini tote I've ever made is this one, and it's the exact same process, exactly the same. So think of all the things you can make, and if you do something like this, tag me on Instagram. I'm So Hungry Hippie. Thanks for hitting like, and don't forget to click that subscribe and the bell so that you're notified when I put up a new video. Thanks for being here. See you soon.